moving on to another science-based question. First, I'll open it up like this. How long do you want to live?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Not that long.
You don't want to live that long.
I don't.
So,
do we need to have a talk?
well, yeah. Okay, hold on.
I feel, no, I'm not talking like 30, 40. I'm talking like 85 is about a good range. I think I'll have lived my life. Because when you get old, there's a certain... This is actually in my project. That's why I asked you that question.
Yeah.
When you get old, there's a certain point where your quality of life just isn't worth it.
Right.
Everyone's so more advanced, like so far advanced. And like my mom, she even struggles with an iPhone, and she's not that much older than a normal human being. So I don't know. I just feel like looking at my grandpa who's 94 and how he doesn't understand technology, he can barely use the TV remote, I would get frustrated and I wouldn't want to live anymore.
But can I go first, please?
Go ahead.
Like I was saying before with how we're now in the most let's say innovational age of the human race that we've ever seen. I think it's understandable that elderly people don't understand technology, but I feel like it'll be different for our generation because we already have a basis of that technology, and we'll be experiencing it as it grows, as it changes, because we'll be like exposed to it.
And what I was going to say to sort of combat what you were saying, this sort of resistance to learning and technology with older people, it's due to something I said in the last not last episode, this is probably 3-4 episodes ago, but when we were talking about neuroplasticity, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what neuroplasticity is? So it's basically we learn through the movement and the synapses and the strength of connections within our neurons.
Yeah.
So the brain's susceptibility to form these connections and to form new connections is what neuroplasticity is. So when I say I want to live for hundreds of years, and that's just a generalization, I have no idea how long I want to live, but we're at the assumption that the technology and with the gene editing and the reverse aging that we're able to pull off, we're able to keep this neuroplasticity intact. And we're basically going to extend our prime quality of life. So it's not just you age up to a certain age and then like somebody who's 90 or 100 just lives as a sack of flesh for the next 200 years.
Yeah.
That's gruesome. But yeah, it's excuse me, it's also extending your quality of life.
But I've also read this thing. It's like
Sure.
complimenting what you said,
Yeah, go
not
ahead.
to debate it. That people who are in isolation get dementia faster because they're not as what would be the word, stigmatized? Okay, so I think because we have smartphones and we have all that different factor that they didn't have growing up, that we'll have less cases of dementia and that more people will be able to think better. Does that make sense? I don't know how to word what I'm saying.
Well,
we talked about gene therapy, which I'm pretty against
not
in
even
the
like
long
gene
run.
editing. It's just naturally like how we're developing as a species.
Well, it is also within our genes that, and this is just bioengineering in general, but it's also within our genes that certain people are more susceptible to things such as Alzheimer's and stuff like that. Yeah. But as we talked about in episode 1, this is just an amazing throwback episode.
I know.
Episode 1. Neuralink will be able to cure all of these things. Shout out to my boy Elon. But what were you gonna say?
I forgot. But anyway, on as to my perspective on this, I'd like to live pretty long. I mean, as long as my natural life will give me, because I'm a people watcher, and even if I'm not able to go do things when I'm older, I still like to see the world, and I like to analyze the things because, wisdom comes with age, and not necessarily how smart you are.
So
Not necessarily how smart you are, but what you're exposed to, So I feel like as long as I'm able to live, I'd like to take in as much as I can and see this world.
Now, this will kind of highlight why I want to live longer than you guys do. I'll ask you a question first. You're a gamer, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I talked about virtual immersion and we're talking about Sword Art Online, didn't you say that you would like to experience some type of virtual immersion.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna extend my life to do so.
Oh, so you won't do that?
No, if I hope it's gonna be out. I hope it's gonna be out by the time I die.
Caleb just wants to live like Star Wars.
So
I hope it's gonna be out by the time I die, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to extend my life to do so.
What if it's just 10 years?
From now?
Not even 10. No, just gradually.
10 years after I die?
No, like just wherever you're said to die, whether you die at whatever age. I'm not going to give you a timeline. Just let's say we extend that for 10 years, and you're able to experience virtual immersion.
I'm not. No.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
5 years.
No, not by one day.
Not by one day.
Not by one day.
I don't like when people say it because they say it over some stupid stuff. But when it is my time, it is my time.
Really?
You know, I said that yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I definitely exactly
You were talking about
stated
skydiving.
that. Skydiving.
That's interesting. It's an interesting perspective. I respect it.
You're gonna extend your life?
Yes.
But what to what lengths?
I'm not sure, but
what if you just died in a car accident?
Then
that
is also.
I mean, I'm just saying, like it's.
Shit.
You can use my head.
It's fine. Oh, God.
Ow. Okay.
Well, I have multiple perspectives on this. From my just view on reality, I sort of live by the thought of let come what may. So, if that event were to happen, then that is within fate for me. For it to be brought onto me. That's what my story was meant to be. Yeah. But I am a person who is bound to service and who is bound to humanity as a whole. So there are many things within whatever lifetime I have. If I'm only able to live the usual human expectancy, I believe that I'll be able to do great things in one day. But from the knowledge of life that I have right now, extending that will just allow me to enrich humanity even further. And maybe it's not my responsibility to do that because it's also a team effort. But that's just like my wholesome outlooking view on living longer. And then I also have the geeky part of wanting to live in a Star Wars type world. So it's a culmination of both of those.
It does sound nice, but I feel that mindset is what breeds people looking for immortality. Because
I don't say I want to be immortal.
No, I know you're not saying that, but that's what it breeds. It'll lead to that mindset because you can continue doing more, and given the opportunity, if you have an infinite amount of time, you can continue to grow.
Well, unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, but realistically, attending to what you were saying, within the science that we are able to think about now, and whenever I consume either computer science or bioengineering, it seems we're going to get to a point where people are going to be immortal anyway. That seems to be the goal.
That sounds awful.
Most of us don't like that.
Could you die if you wanted to?
Yes, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I assume so. You could probably just flip a switch.
Oh my God.
But us three, we all want to die at some point. We see life as finite, and I said in one episode, the finite nature of life is what gives it meaning, is what allows us to progress. But there are people out there within the science community who are hell-bent on allowing humans to be immortal. And the trajectory that science is on, if we make it past the Great Filter, I believe that there will be people who decide to be immortal. That may be biologically immortal, or it may be uploading their consciousness to the computer, then being immortal that way.
Last time on the episode where we discussed gene therapy and just got all philosophical with it, we ended up going over an hour, what we expected to talk about. So I'll just keep it short when I say that's just a loss of humanity. You said humans becoming immortal, but at that point, you're not even human.
Well, that's also purely your perception on what humanity. What'd you say?
I was thinking that too. If we're flipping switches to end our life, then are we even living?
And I'll argue for the other side, even though I'm on your side. That perspective is purely based off of your idea of what humanity is. It's not your decision to define what humanity is for someone else. Yeah. It could be to other person that the definition of humanity is innovation. In that regard, it would be innovative to extend human life. So you could say that you're you can't say that it's anything, but in reality, you can. Humanity is what you make it. And maybe that's what the definition of it is. But they could say that their definition of humanity is. So in their perspective, it is not inhumane to do all these things because what we are creating, these are human-created things. Bioengineering is a human-created concept. Artificial intelligence is a human-created concept.
But it doesn't leave you with a human. It leaves you with something different.
Which is what?
Well, like
a computer, like not a human.
What you said before, how humanity is based on whatever people make of it. Mm-hmm. I do not think that is true.
Okay.
Because, well, I know you're on our side, but arguing against the people with that mindset, whatever they would say. Let me collect my thoughts. Hold on.
Well, no, I can.
Basically. Society, humans as a whole, humanity. Mm-hmm. I think that we've all really come to a consensus that I don't really think humanity does have like a set definition on it.
Right.
It is however people feel it to be.
Yeah.
And whenever you lose that feeling of making humanity what it is, that's when it stops being that concept.
But nobody is just in the fact to project that feeling onto anybody else. That's what I'm trying to say. Who are you to tell somebody what a human is, other than the fact that we breathe air and we're a carbon created creature?
No, but I'm saying in that scenario, when I'm not trying to tell anybody what humanity is.
Yeah, you are allowed to say that.
But when you lose that feeling of just humanity, if I were to put a definition on it, humanity is all of the human race.
Yeah.
Basically what it sounds like. So if you do something that is against, let's say, groupthink, like whatever majority of humans want, it's not humanity, because humanity is based on the ideals of everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I can certainly see where you're coming from. But at the same time, everybody's the main character of their own story. So one who decides to make their human life in this certain way, so this is like the overall idea. Regardless of how you view them, they are allowed to have their own view on it too. This is the issue that plagues us when it comes to media or anything, is you can't force somebody to think a certain idea. There is no all world groupthink. So whether we believe that it is inhumane to basically turn yourself into a computer, somebody could think that them being a human is simply their ability to formulate ideas, to have thought out plans, because there's no other animal on our planet that is planning things and planning for future things to the degree that we are. Mm-hmm. We see dolphins as a smart being, but we don't see them as having motives as humans have. So if they are able to keep these motives and emotions and things like that, they could always see themselves as human, regardless of what their physical being is.
So I will say that humanity, in essence, is mutual understanding of a species. Mm-hmm. So when that mutual understanding is lost and something is led astray, that becomes alien.
Sure.
Not human.
Sure. And also, coming from that side again, is if that's your definition of being a human, then they might no longer want to be human anymore. As long as they are able to,
that is their choice.
Yeah, it's their choice.
Entirely possible.
Yeah, as long as they're willing to function within themselves, and even if they're functioning through goodness.
I personally would want to be human.
So
you want what?
To be human.
Yeah, I think we all would like to be human.
I don't want to be anything other than that.
There's a point where the science should stop.
In
regards to life.
But it doesn't.
And that is.
It doesn't stop. The only way it stops is the Great Filter, I say this all the time.
Oh my gosh, how many times?
Yeah, because this is the like
Take
I
a
said.
shot every time he says the great filter.
Yeah, because this is the highlight of our
We don't drink
life.
on the Enlightened Brothers, okay?
Yeah,
Take a shot of water.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, but yeah, the only way the science stops is if somebody stops it for us. Whether we stop it ourselves or there's some Type 5 civilization out there that has been watching us the whole time and can vaporize us in a second.
You're saying I need to intervene.
Sure. Become the villain.
It's finally my time.
But know this to your core. I'll be there to stop you.
All right.
I'll be there to stop you.
The Enlightened Brothers
Have
becoming
turned to
the Enlightened
rivals.
enemies.
Oh, that was really sad.
No, that's the action movie for the century.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, super enlightening stuff.